What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today we're going to be talking about a pumpkin spice tea and the Pelikan M800. So this bad boy right here is pumpkin spice brulee. It is from Teavana, and it's pretty dang good. Oh man, it smells delicious. I don't know if you'll really be able to see it, but anyways, this is an oolong tea. And because it's oolong, it does have a bit of a higher price tag. Goes for $12.98 per 50 grams. But I really dig it. It is basically kind of like a sweet pumpkin flavor with like cocoa bits. There's white chocolate bits in there. There's definitely like the savory spice flavor that you would expect in anything that has the word spice written right in the title. Because it's an oolong, it's also relatively low caffeine, which I enjoy. And you take about 1 to 1.5 scoops of this bad boy, put it into your cup, or whatever you're using to steep it. Basically, you can do a full boil. It says to do it at 195 degrees Fahrenheit. At the end of the day, you're your own boss, so you can basically do whatever you want. I would recommend it. I'm probably going to pick more up in the future. So definitely, it's a good one. And with that tea today, I have decided to pair with it the Pelikan M800. This one in particular is the burnt orange finish. But like with any Pelikan, you can get like all the striation ones, green, blue. You can get a plain black. You can get a red one. The red one's tricky to find, but you can get it if you want. This pen is pretty wicked. Let me kind of bring it up. This is the M205, this is the M600, and this is the M800. So side by side, you can definitely tell that they do get larger as you go on. There is also an M1000, which is bigger than this. They definitely get larger as they go up in size, and they do get heavier. So obviously this one being the lightest, this one has a steel nib, this one has a 14 karat gold nib, and this one has an 18 karat gold nib. Still the same Pelikan finial. You've got the Pelikan clip there that has the bill of the Pelikan. You have the 2 gold center bands. And on the thicker center band, it says Pelikan Souverain. If you unscrew the cap there, reveals the 18 karat gold nib, the gold center band, banding, whatever you want to call it, around the grip section, and reveals the threads. The body is completely solid, so unlike a translucent model, or unlike the striation models, which you can see through a little bit, this is completely solid, so you cannot see the ink that you have inside, which is a little bit of a downside because then you don't know if you have a full fill, if when you're running dry, anything like that. So that one is a little unfortunate. But like I said, all the other models you can see through. The grip section is an appropriate size. I would like it maybe if it was just a titch longer. Because when I hold the pen, my thumb does rest on the threads. Not that they're sharp, they're very actually smooth, so you don't really feel them, but I would just still prefer if the threads, the grip section was a little bit longer anyways. But I like the grip section as far as the width goes, especially since I've been using the Mont Blanc 149 and the Delta Jolta Vita oversize, where they have really big grips. This one is, I think, perfect for what I like. So I like it. The piston knob at the back is just a black piston knob with 2 gold center bands, and there is a slight step up between this bottom band here and where the barrel starts, but you can post quite securely over top of the piston knob, and I don't feel like you're going to move it. I don't post my pens, but this one posts, like I said, quite securely. It does become back weighted for me when I do that, but like, if you've got larger hands where your hand is going to rest probably closer to here, then I think it would be well balanced for you. The nib unit, just like all the other ones, can be unscrewed. So this again is the M600, this is the M800. So the nib itself is definitely a larger nib. I'm going to show you on this one because the M800 is actually inked up. But if you place your thumb on the feed towards the grip section and your pointer finger again towards the feed and the grip section, do not hold it towards the nib. That will just kill your tines. So hold it as far back as you can. And you can actually twist and take out the feed, which is really cool. This is something that oh man, I wish the Mont Blanc 149 would do, because that is something that just drives me nuts about that pen, is that you can't do that without tools. So that way you can get in here, you can fully clean it out, you can re-grease up the piston if need be, you can put silicone grease around these threads if you want to. Be careful though, if you do, to not get it in the feed section itself. And it also means that you can buy separate nib units. They are a bit of a cost to do that, but you can. So this one's a medium, so if you wanted to get like a fine, you could buy another one and switch them out at your will. And then you just go ahead and screw it back in, and Bob is your uncle. And the same goes for the M205, the steel units as well. Same thing, twist away, you are good to go. So that's really convenient. I'm really happy that you can do that. Like I said, I really wish that you could do that with the Mont Blanc 149. So that is convenient. And I'm pretty sure you can do that with the M1000 as well. So I do like that. There are basically 3 things that I love everything about this pen except 3 things. This one in particular, like I mentioned, there's no ink window. So you can't see, like if these ones, the striated ones, if you hold them up to the light, you can see your ink. Or if you have them backlit, you can see your ink in there. Whereas this one, no bueno, you're not going to see it. So you've got to be able to judge yourself when you think you're almost empty and when you think you have a good fill. So that's the one thing I don't like. Second thing I don't like is that this nib, especially in comparison to this nib, is much more stiff than this. So this is an 18 karat, this is a 14 karat, but this one's quite stiff. It's much more rigid. This one is very soft. It has a bit of a bounce. You can get a little bit of a flex to it, and it feels nicer when I'm writing, whereas this one is much more stiff. And it's a little bit drier than this as well. And even this steel nib, phenomenally smooth, pretty wet writer. This, which is steel, feels a little bit nicer to me than this, which is 18 karat gold. So that's interesting. I have heard, though, a lot of people say that the M800 is stiffer than all the other models. I have never used an M1000, so I cannot speak to that in particular. But apparently that one, because it is such a larger nib, you do get more of a bounce. It is a little bit more soft. So I'm not a super fan of how stiff the nib is. But it still writes well. It's still smooth. It's still, like, that kind of thing. It's still a Pelikan. But because it's still a Pelikan, the final thing that I dislike about it is the price. So it's kind of a running joke that Pelikan raises their prices every year. And it's a running joke, but it's not really a joke because it's true. So in Canada, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty close in the US as well, Europe I'm not positive on because I don't know how like pounds versus euros work, but for dollar's sake, American and Canadian, whatever M number it is pretty close to the price you're going to pay. So M600 you're going to pay close to $600. M800 you're going to pay close to $800. M1000 you're going to pay close to $1,000. You can find good deals if you're willing to wait a while before picking up a pen. Of course, if you get limited edition ones, they're going to be more expensive. All those kinds of things. You can get ones with like Rodden in them. That's obviously loads more expensive. It's also freaking gorgeous, but way more expensive. But that's just me. I do love it. I do really like the way, the way that Pelikans feel. I love the striation look. The red in particular happens to be my favorite, but I really like the green one. And some of the special edition blues that they have come out, gorgeous. If you're looking to try a Pelikan, definitely pick up the M205. This is the M205 because it's silver. If the M200 is gold trim. But pick up the M200 or the M205 because they're really nice ones to try out. Even though they do have a steel nib, you get a pretty good feel for what Pelikans are like. And this is a great, great pen. Would I recommend this pen? Yes, I would. Absolutely. Not for full price though. But the most important part of any pen, regardless of price, looks, anything, is how it writes. So let's jump into the writing sample and I'll tell you a bit more about it then. Alright, so the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Like I said, the nib today is a 18 karat medium Pelikan M800 nib. The ink is platinum mix-free earth brown. This was just a doodle I was doing earlier, so ignore this. The nib is very smooth. There are definitely no complaints with that whatsoever. It is super, super smooth. I've never had any issues with hard starts or skipping or anything like that. It definitely keeps up with fast writing. So I really, really like that. Like I said earlier, it is a little on the stiff side, so you really have to push in order to get any line variation. So don't expect to get any kind of line variation on this. It's still a decently wet pen. I find I've had a few different inks in this pen. This one performs the best, this ink, as far as wetness goes. Because I suppose it's a little bit stiffer, this pen really does rely, with my experience, on the ink that you put in it as far as how dry or how wet it is. I had an orange ink in this one prior, and it was just super dry. But this one obviously is super wet, so it's a little bit picky, but I would say for the most part it's wet and it's good to go. Reverse writing. Yeah, you can go for a good while actually. I mean, it's definitely drier. You're not really going to get any kind of shading or sheen or anything like that. But it's fairly smooth. You can feel a little bit of a drag along the paper, but I wouldn't say it's scratchy. But overall, I like this pen. Yeah, I like this pen. I wish it was a little bit more responsive in the way that it writes, like my M600. Put those side by side there. I wish it was a little bit more responsive, like the way the M600 writes, and they're both medium nibs. Just obviously this one's a 14 karat. So that to me is a little bit of a bummer, but at the end of the day, it's still a really good pen. I would definitely recommend it. I would just maybe say, if you like super, super bouncy nibs, you may need to get a Nibmeister to tune it up for you a little bit. Otherwise, if you like ones that are a little bit stiffer, then the more power to you. This is the only M800 I've ever used, so I can't say definitively whether they're all a little bit stiffer than their counterparts. But it's just kind of what I've heard through the fountain pen world. But anyways, guys, that is enough for me today. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up. If you really like the video and haven't done so yet already, please do subscribe. The videos every Monday and Friday. Don't be afraid of the comment section below either. Any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave them down there. I do read them all and I try and answer them all as soon as I can. Sweet. I will see you guys next time. Bye.